guys, what up? It's your girl Kabachiba, aka Chelsea, and I'm here today on Konkuk University campus, back in my old stomping ground from a few years ago, with my girl Jen. What's up? Yeah. As you can see, we have our E-Mart buggy that we randomly found and hijacked. So yeah, let's bounce. Point gang. We're gonna interview some students around on campus, ask them random questions and whatnot. So yeah, come on. Thank you for joining me today, guys. So what are your thoughts about befriending a foreigner here in Korea and possibly even dating a foreigner?
의사소통 문제만 아니면 괜찮을 것 같아요. 그 외국인이 한국말을 잘하거나 아니면 한국인이 외국인과 의사소통할 능력이 된다면 아마 아무런 상관이 없을 거예요.
For joining us today, what are your names?
My name is Asada.
Asada?
My name is Kara.
Kara, nice to meet you. So my question here today is, what have your experience been living here in Korea? I know you guys mentioned that you are students here at Konkuk University.
Yes. Yeah, well, I think Seoul is a great city. I mean, there are so many people here. There are a lot of international students, especially here at Konkuk University. And I think, yeah, the country, Korea, is like really nice. And it's a whole different culture because we're from the Netherlands.
Right.
So it's like totally different here, and it's kind of cool to experience that.
Yeah, I agree on that. And it's like really life experience, and I don't know, you have so much opportunities to do things, to see things, and the culture is amazing.
Right,
Yeah.
definitely agree.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for other foreigners that are interested in maybe coming here to study abroad or to move here to live?
Maybe a good tip is like deodorant is really expensive. So we didn't mention that. That's like really good type of advice, I think. And
I think you should be ready for a culture shock because you will definitely have one. Well, maybe, or just because we're from Europe.
Right.
But I mean, the food here is like really different. The people are different, and I think it's like also a different language.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think we thought it would be easier to communicate here in English, but it's kind of hard.
quite easy.
So
And the food is also really spicy. It's spicy or it's sweet. So there are
yeah.
Piggybacking off of that, the language topic,
Yeah.
have you guys made any effort to try and learn some Korean to better communicate with the locals and natives?
We had a few
Yes.
classes.
Yeah, Korean classes,
yeah.
but it's not like we don't have like a Korean course. We didn't think
No.
that, but we learned like to say hello, how are you, and bye, and
Yeah.
stuff like
Okay,
that.
so just
That's
basic
okay.
survival Korean,
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Do you guys have any experience dating Korean boys, Korean guys?
I don't.
Me neither. No, we don't have any experience in that, but I think our friends, like our other friends, they have. So
Would you be
it's also
open to
possible.
it, or?
Well, for me, not at the moment now.
No, for me
It's
also
the wrong
not.
moment,
So
but
it's
I
like
think that, yeah, it also happens here with international students. I think
Yeah.
the Korean people like international students, and
Yeah,
international students are also open for that. With
yeah, there's
Korean people,
really
so you see interaction between them like a lot.
yeah. So it's possible, and they're really open-minded. So I think.
Yeah.
Good. So your experiences, like interacting with the locals and like other Koreans since you've been here, has been positive.
Yeah.
Overwhelming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's wonderful. Yes. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for
Yeah, thank
answering some
you.
questions for us.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey guys, we're back. This time we finally moved inside of a cafe because it was getting a little bit chilly outside. But you know, my friend here, Jane, she is an English teacher here in Korea as well. And one of my personal questions that I have for her is to share with us her experience of working at a Hagwon, because she recently just went through something at her former place of employment, and I think it's a really good story to share for those of you who might be interested in moving here to work and teach in Korea, because it's not all sugar-coated daisies and butterflies.
It's not all good.
It's not all good all the time. So, Jane?
Okay, so basically, when I moved to Korea, like, it was really, really quick. Once I got my F4 visa, I got recruited by this agency, and then they found me this job at this Hagwon, and like, everything happened so fast. Like the director there was very desperate for a teacher, so she literally like had the phone interview with me, hired me the same night, and then I was basically out of Canada in 3 weeks time. But like for me, I've been applying to Korea for almost a year, so like for me I was like ready to go like anytime.
Yeah.
So like in the beginning it was like the teaching position promised to me, it wasn't even really a teaching position. She made me grade homework and like supervise the class for almost a month, you
So
know?
do you feel like she kind of like belittled you?
A lot, and it's just kind of like I felt so disrespected as a teacher, because it's like, why did I fly halfway across the country to just sit here and grade your homework? And it was so boring, and like it honestly, especially when I got to Korea and had to start working the next day, it's a little overwhelming, you know what I mean? And I'm spending literally 6 days a week at this Hagwon, and like it didn't feel like I was doing anything valuable, you know what I mean? And then on top of that, so in the beginning I was kind of like, Jane, like don't be weak, you know, just like stick it out, you know, like you're gonna get paid, just like think about this as like you like saving money and just like
So more of like an ends to a means.
exactly, and it's just like don't even think about quitting, because like you're not a quitter, like etc. So then after my first month of working there, like I checked my pay and it was definitely way less than what it should have been. I go to work on Saturdays, and I'm supposed to.
So she works not 5 days a week, the regular Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but also Saturday. So that's 6 days a week. Her only day off, you guys, was Sunday. Sunday.
And like for me, it's kind of like, okay, it's fine. Like I get overtime pay on Saturdays, but then when I calculated, I wasn't getting any of my overtime hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
So another background, like I worked at Taechidong, which is like it's an area in Gangnam, and it's notoriously known in Seoul for like being like a big hub for like Hagwons, and it's like a lot of like rich families, like rich moms with like super spoiled kids kind of, so that was like the feels.
So it's like the bougie area.
Exactly. And so when I approached my boss about the pay, being like, hey, by the way, like can I see my pay stub, because like it really looks like I got underpaid for like all the hours that I worked, like I did all the calculations, like whatever. This person takes like over a week to get my pay stub ready, you know what I mean, which is a little sketchy in itself, you know what I mean. And it's like I kept like chasing her for it, you know, like, hey, do you have my pay stub yet? Hey, do you have my pay stub yet? And like even one time I messaged her on Saturday being like, hey, like, do you have my pay stub, because I couldn't really catch her at a good time when we were at work. She messages me back being like, Jane, don't message me on Saturday, like I want to rest on the weekend. I'm like,
I'll be like, so do I.
Like, we
but
came
you're
to
not
work
here
today.
working.
Exactly. So it's like, what do you mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then so whatever, she finally gives me my pay stub. I look at it, and there's not even a section of overtime. And then she's like trying to like lay down like all this nonsense
So
about.
she's trying to skirt tell her responsibility of like owning up to the fact that she hasn't been giving you your overtime pay.
Like, oh Jane, it's actually all included in this. There were some deductions because like I paid your utilities, like some of the days were training, like etc. etc. And it's like what do you take me for? You know what I mean? Like, do you think I'm dumb? Like, this isn't the first place like I've ever worked, you know? Like, first of all, I'm supposed to be paying my utilities, so like for you to dock that from my pay without even letting me know is not right. Number two, like, what do you mean training? I never received any training. Like, since day one, I was working, like doing like whatever you needed me to do. So like I said all those things, and then she's like, oh yeah, like just like excuse after excuse, okay? So that's fine. She's like, oh, there is like this discrepancy that I found, but like I'll like deposit it into your account like at a later time. I'm like, you know what, fine, it's fine. And she's like, next month, like everything will be normal. I'm like, all right. So this next month comes, and like I check my pay, and it's exactly the same as last month, you know? So I approach her again, being like, can I see my pay stub again, because what you gave me was the same amount that you paid me last month. And she's all like, oh, Jane, it's because I deducted so-and-so amount for your health insurance. I'm like, okay.
Excuses after excuses after excuses.
And it's like, I was supposed to get my health insurance, like where's my card? And like how come this is the first time I'm hearing about it, you know what I mean? If you registered my health insurance already, like you should approach me about it until like not just wait until I ask you about where my money is, you know? And like even in terms of like that discrepancy she found that week, it's like I'm basically chasing this woman for like my money and like it's really
Which you
just
shouldn't have to do, you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
So it's really just not worth it for me. Like I'm going to work 6 times a week and I'm not getting any compensation for it, you know what I mean? And it's like it is mentally and physically exhausting, you know what I mean, when you're doing this work that you don't even enjoy and then you're not even getting compensated for your time. It's like, why don't you care about how you're treating me, how you're respecting me or my time? So like if you guys are thinking about like coming to Korea in terms of this, especially if you're a foreigner, like there are a lot of like directors or bosses who think they can take advantage of foreigners because they don't really understand the system and they don't really understand the culture. But like no, like you should know like that you should be respected, like that you should be getting paid. So just like do a lot of research. There are a lot of like what's it called, reviews you can read about certain Hagwons.
That's true.
You can always
you can find sites. I think it's on daveseslcafe.com. You can also find like a list of schools that teachers have kind of blacklisted.
Exactly.
It's like stay away from or watch out for if your recruiter tries to push you really hard towards a certain school and say like, oh yeah, the school's hiring and things like that. Like you want to ask questions. Like there's no question that's a stupid question. Seriously, because this is going to be your life for the next year because every contract is a year long and you don't want to end up some shoddy place that's making your life miserable because you want to come here and have a great experience and enjoy your time teaching and working here in Korea.
Another thing you can do is like if you are with a recruitment agency, you can ask the recruiter if they can give you in contact with like a past teacher or a teacher that already works there, so you can kind of like talk about their experience like and that kind of stuff, which I think will be really helpful.
And it's kind of a red flag too when the boss that you're interviewing with of the school or Hagwon doesn't want to put you on with another teacher, and it shouldn't be where it's like the teacher is there answering your questions and the boss is like lingering in the background, kind of like over them, making sure they say the right thing, because that's a red flag too. You want to be like, hey, can you give me the teacher's email address that I'm going to be replacing for this position, and I can contact him or her and ask them the questions I need to ask them. You know, that's how it should be. And for me in my specific case and situation, when I was getting ready to accept my position from where I work and teach here in Korea, that's what I did, and my boss was more than willing to allow me to have that former teacher's email address, and we were in communication for like a couple of weeks up until the time I got ready to fly over here. Yeah, it's just, you know, you really just have to do your diligence, you guys. And also a follow-up question, Jane, is what circumstance are you in currently? So for a lot of foreigners who end up doing, like there's a term called midnight run here, is when you have a really bad Hagwon experience and you just can't wait out your contract to end and you need to just, bail, like, you know, as soon as possible, ASAP.
Like no notice or anything.
No notice.
So that's what I did.
It's called a midnight run because you pretty much like up and leave.
Exactly. It's not recommended just because it is super unprofessional. But in my case, I already know that if I gave her a formal notice, she would make me work for another month and then not pay me properly for that month. So like, why am I trying to work for a whole month for half my pay? So it was just not in my best interest. But any other normal like Hagwon or any other normal boss would pay you for that extra time. So like
supposed to.
So like if you are gonna quit a place because you're not really happy with it, you should give a formal notice. But anyway, so the situation that I'm in now, my Hagwon did provide housing. So if I did quit this job, like I wouldn't have anywhere to live. Luckily for me, I do have family out here. So I am like staying with my aunt right now until I start up my new job. But so that's why, like, if you are a foreigner and like you don't know anyone here, like you don't have friends you can stay with, you don't have family you can stay with, like make sure you pick a good Hagwon or a good workplace before you come here, because like for me, if I didn't have anyone, then I'd have to go back to Canada. You know?
Right. And that's, you know, very fortunate for you in your case and your circumstances, because you do have that alternative option that you were able to take advantage of.
So I feel very blessed with that.
So I can only imagine how much more worse it would be for someone who did not have your options and your resources at hand. And I think you mentioned earlier, did you come over on an
F4
F4
visa.
visa?
F4 visa.
Okay, so she didn't have the regular E2 visa, which is like what I have when I'm a basic, Westerner, a foreigner coming here to work in Korea teaching English. How do you come about your F4 visa, just for those out there who are
So
curious?
an F4 visa is a Kyopo visa. If the only way you're eligible for this visa is if you're actually ethnically Korean.
Okay, so
but
that term gyopo.
Kyopo means like you're ethnically Korean, but you have a citizenship in another country. So basically, for my F4 visa, I honestly think it's the best visa because it's like it's basically like a citizenship minus like voting rights.
Okay.
You know,
Oh, that's
like
a great
you
way
can
of explaining it.
yeah, and you can like easily renew it like every 2 years. You know what I mean? It's not a complicated process. So if you're ethnically Korean from like a different country, I highly recommend that you get an F4 visa.
Wow, that sounds like a sweet deal.
And like also in terms of E2 visa, right? So E2 visa is like your job sponsors you. So for me, if I had an E2 visa at this workplace right now and I like quit, then like I would be illegally in the country, because then
Right, and that's what's going to be like my next follow-up question is because I know that the ramifications for us if we were to do like a midnight run, it's usually you do a midnight run and you head to the airport because you're trying to fly out of the country before your employer notifies immigration and let them know that like, hey, this person legally left our job or the place of employment that they were at and they are a flight risk, if you will. So they put like this alert out on your supposed to be alien registration card, your ARC card that you're supposed to have as a immigrant living and working here in Korea, and you'll get flagged at the airport going through like immigration sometimes if you wait too late or if you don't get out expediently. So
if you're an E2 visa and you're gonna midnight run, make sure you got your plane ticket down pat.
make sure you got your whole plan together because you don't want to risk getting caught up like that, especially. And it's like unfortunate because a lot of people come here with high hopes and wanting to have great experience and like loving the country, but just having a really bad employment experience, like, and you have to flee and go back to your country.
It just like leaves such a bad
like sour taste in your mouth. And even if you want to come back, how does that, like you leaving so dramatically and drastically like that,
if you want to come back,
affect like if you ever do come back? Who knows what they might have flagged on you as your name and your passport and stuff when you come back into the country. They might see like, oh, this person left illegally from like their job or their employment last time they were here. So then there could be other ramifications and the ripple effect could extend God knows how far down the road.
Exactly.
So it's a big decision and it's definitely something you want to like be behoove of, but like we said, like definitely do your research and due diligence beforehand before you come here to work
I
and
think
live.
that was my biggest mistake, like I've been like looking so for me in the beginning I was kind of trying to do an E2 visa before I found out about the F4, and like trying to get an E2 visa for like an ethnically Korean person was very difficult. So I was like half-assing, like applying for a year and like unsuccessful, like through Epic and all that kind of stuff, just because they don't really want like a Korean person. Even though I'm a native English speaker, they don't really like see that, you know.
Right.
So when I got this job offer so quickly, like I was just like ready to like bounce, right? So I just like took it, and like I actually did have my mom has a family friend who lives in Gangnam whose son actually did go to the Hagwon. So I was like, you know what, like if he went there and like it's a good school, like why not?
Right.
But just like the structure was so unorganized, like the work itself was so easy, with such demanding hours, and like your boss just didn't respect you. There were so many problems with like past teachers as well who like weren't getting paid properly, who were like being mistreated, who were like giving false promises. Like it's just
That's just bad signs all around.
Exactly.
So that's unfortunate. Well, thank you, Jane, for sharing some light on this subject and topic. And I know I've done a video before in the past called why I love working at a Hagwon, or why I like working at a Hagwon. That's the sunny, cheerful side, and this is, the
dark side.
The darker side. So I want to give you guys that balance and share with you another English teacher's experience of, what she went through, and hopefully that can help you guys out and help you guys make informed decisions before you come here, before you get into the thick of things. So I hope that this helped. I hope you guys enjoyed this video today. We had a lot of fun filming it, and I hope you can hit me up in the future if you guys have any further questions or things that you would like to have answered, I would be more than happy to do a video on that and to answer them for you. Find someone to answer them if you want us to go around interviewing other Koreans, different age groups or something like that, different opinionated topics and whatnot. I would be more than happy to do so. And yeah, guys, so this has been Kabachi Bye. I hope you leave a like and subscribe, comment below. Let me know how you're feeling today, and you know I love you. You know I love you. Yeah, I do. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Adios.